So-called murder capital of the world, there was a big experiment in the summer of 1993 where 4,000 volunteers came from 100 countries to collectively meditate for long periods of time throughout the day. It was predicted in advance that with such a sized group, you would have a 25% drop in violent crime, as defined by the FBI, in Washington that summer. Well, the chief of police went on television saying that, look, it's going to take 2 feet of snow to reduce crime by 25% in Washington, D.C. this summer. But by the end, the police department became a collaborator and author of this study because the results, in fact, showed a 25% drop in violent crime in Washington, D.C., which we could predict on the basis of 48 previous studies that had already been done on a smaller scale.
This leads naturally to wonder, are people affecting the world of reality that they see? You betcha they are. Every single one of us affects the reality that we see, even if we try to hide from that and play victim. We all are doing it.
Just tell me where you are. Good. But hurry with it, please, because these models are giving me a headache.
10 minutes.
Of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and let them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown. Except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Every time I see this, and I've seen it 100 times probably, I actually get emotional. It's like I tear up. This is, again, proven science. Did you see the one that said, you make me sick, I want to kill you? And as they said, as they pointed out, your body, your physical makeup, it varies, but it's anywhere from 60 to 90% water. Now, and see, because of my background and my search, I spent 4 years searching for truth, and my first reference to me was the Bible. So that's where I started. Because that's what I was brought up. That's where the truth was. You know, if you're brought up in the church, the Bible has the truth. Okay. But you know what? Even though I don't agree with a lot of the philosophy, there are unbelievable and astounding truths. Do you know what Jesus said? It's not what goes in a man that defiles him. Who knows the second part of that? It's what comes out. Proverbs says, as a man thinketh. How do you finish it? So is he. And there's no delay. See, that's the thing. The moment you judge, what did he say happens to you? Guess what? There's no delay. It's not when you get to heaven. It's immediate. And boy, when I saw this, I just love everybody. And it feels real good. And you know what? Nobody can harm me. Because really, no one harms you anyway, do they? Isn't it your response to them? Someone talks behind your back, it doesn't have to be injurious to you. Only if you do what? React negatively to it. Do you know that it really doesn't even exist for you if you just let it go? This is proven science. Why I wanted you to see that thought changes physical things immediately. Now the key behind this, though, is where do your thoughts come from? What did we say our thoughts came from? Well, they come from your neural circuits. And where did those come from?
Our wiring, our perceptions, our experiences.
Your experiences from your mother's womb, actually. It starts as the moment you can hear, as a little baby in the mother's womb, your perception has begun. And that's what we have to see, that thoughts are the key to everything. Now that's why I call it the brain keys connection, is because if it starts here, then what do we need to change? Not what's out here. Where does the change need to take place? Yeah. And the science has already The stuff that I talk about in the seminar, how many of you have ever heard of the decade of the brain? That's amazing. Our government in 1990, you remember President Bush Sr.? George? He in Congress, it was actually an act of Congress, declared the 90s as the decade of the brain. During those 10 years, they've learned more about the brain than from the beginning of time. Everything from 1987 back became obsolete. And it was all based on studying neural circuits and how they're formed. And all the information in my seminar is based on that research that they found. Actually, they were going to create artificial intelligence. That's what their desire was to see how they could create a computer with artificial intelligence. But you know, any time that you have a study, what happens? You get all these byproducts, don't you, that you weren't looking for. Well, everything that I'm going to teach you in the seminar is based on proven science of how the brain works. I can actually show you every part that's involved, automatic functions of the brain. And your brain, I was just reading this the other day, I just have this thirst for the knowledge about all this stuff. This summer I'm a teacher, so I've never been out of school. Do you know that your brain's, a computer comparable to your brain would be 6 feet tall and the size of Texas? And I will show you also in the seminar that, and this is proven science, like all this stuff I'm telling you is not theory. This was proven in the 90s. You have unlimited amounts of neurons there to create any circuit you want. And when you change the circuits, what do you change? Your perception. You're going to change your reality. One of our realities is we think we have to be sick. We think that's a normal thing. Did you know in reality the body's normal state is health? Isn't that right, Steve? That's right. Yeah. That's the normal state of the body. Sickness is abnormal. But what have we been believed or taught to believe? Oh, it's cold season. Oh, it's flu season. Better get a shot. I've never had a flu shot in my life. And I've seen people get them and then they get the flu. The world is made up of frequencies. Vibration of energy. Scientific fact. And the brain is a frequency analyzer and interpreter. And you can only interpret what you got wired in there. Now, the downside is you had no choice in the way you've been wired. You know another thing they've proven is 99% of your choices you think are free choices right now? No. You think you're making free will choices? No. No. Once you're wired, you have to perform those behaviors. You're just responding to your wiring, and you think you're making a choice. But you're not. And I can show you that, and I can show you how to detach and become an observer of who you think you are. And become aware. That doesn't have to be me. And I can change this. The brain is just like, this is what's amazing about it. Just recently I came across some information now that there are states of the brain, and I'll go through the 4 main brainwave states in the seminar, but there are states of the brain that will literally put you, like one of them is the main one is theta, but once you're in that state, you can transform anything you want and rewire anything you want and change your behavior. And I'll show you that willpower does not work. Well, you probably already know that, don't you? Because you've tried. How many people try not to eat with willpower? See? But what happens is they go back to the programming for a while, but then they'll go back to the programming because they don't change the subconscious programming. See? And then you feel defeated and you quit. But I'll show you how actually the brain works, and it's easy. The brain will do it for you. The brain will do it for you if you know how it works. What I was going to tell you is this, though. The research they've done is this. Do you know right now your brain is vibrating, and I've been changing the vibrations? Some of you have allowed me to, because you haven't rejected what I'm saying. But some of you are feeling you feel real uncomfortable with what I'm saying, so you're pushing it away. But if you would let what the brain will do, and they've proven this, you've seen mass psychology, where the masses end up doing weird things that they wouldn't do as an individual. You know, the brain is a receptor of vibrations, and most of the time we will subconsciously vibrate with the most powerful vibration within the environment. And you won't even know it. Won't even realize it. Because the brain is a receptor of vibrations. Haven't you ever had a feeling of being really uncomfortable? Where you maybe around somebody that's negative? Yeah. Or have you ever been around somebody that's so up they bring you up? Change your vibration? That's literally what's happening. If you let it happen. And one of the things that you'll receive in the seminar that's based on the science I was telling you about is a brain profile. I will actually show you how you think. And it's called brain dominance, but it's like your right or left hand dominance. Everybody has a right hand or left hand dominance. That just means that you like to use that part of your brain better than the other. For example, if somebody threw me a ball, I would not think about it. I'd pick it up with my right hand to throw it back because this is my dominant hand and arm. Well, you have 4 quadrants that you have dominances in, and you subconsciously, automatically interpret the world. And when somebody throws something at you, like I've been throwing stuff at you today, you're picking it up with what's already in here. And you know what? The brain will automatically resist if something is thrown in here that might change it. Because the brain wants to maintain its reality. It's not you doing it. You're not your brain. Your brain's your computer. But your brain's saying, I don't want this because this messes up my program. This doesn't fit. And then you're afraid the whole thing's going to unwrap. You know what? Back when I was 18 and I started pulling on that thread, you know how if you pull on the thread of a sweater or something? When I started pulling on my truths, there was no more sweater. It's unlimited. There is no limit. And it's all based on your brain dominance. If you just did this by itself, it's called Herman International's in South Carolina, I think it is. And I went there for a 7-day training. He's in 28 countries. He's not alive anymore. He was about 80 when I went there and got to meet him. But this is based on Nobel Prize winning science. And it's a survey that will literally tell you how you think. So you don't really know that. Everything's happening automatically. And then I show you, okay, this is your frequency analyzer. I'm going to show you how you're seeing the world, and it's going to be very revealing. You're going to see, oh my gosh, this is the way I see everything. And you can't help but see it that way. It's the way you're wired. Just like the F's. It's impossible for you to see anything that's not wired. Totally impossible. And that's the next thing I will do is I'll take you through a course where I will show you, and it's not real deep. I only picked the main key parts of the brain that are directly involved in creating your reality.